Show me.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Last Epoch. At time of recording we are 2 days and 21 hours from the highly anticipated Cycle 2 Harbingers of Ruin. I cannot wait for this update to drop. We're going to be live on air in Action RPG an hour before the update hits. We're going to attempt a 48-hour stream. We're going to have a special guest. We're going to have multiple Last Epoch keys given away. We're going to be testing all the new stuff. It is going to be an absolute blast. I can't wait. Now for today's video, I'm going to be inspecting and showcasing all 30, yes, 30 new uniques coming for Harbingers of Ruin. And I've categorized them. So here is the uniques for Acolyte, Primalist, Sentinel, Rogue, etc. And just to be clear, I want to say this right at the beginning of the video. Some of these, of course, you can use in multiple classes, all right? So just because I say this is a unique for Primalist doesn't mean you can't use it for Acolyte or vice versa. I just made the best educated guess based upon my experience what it will be likely used for, okay? So you don't know, we don't need any hate in the comment section. That being said, I want to know your favorite and what you are most excited about in the comment section from a unique perspective. And I'm going to go very, very quick. We have to go through 30 uniques. So I'm going to spend 20-25 seconds max per unique, and we're going to start with Acolyte now. The new Cruelty Acolyte Sacrifice Relic, and this is very, very interesting. You give +2 to sacrifice. Minions are automatically sacrificed after 2 seconds. If you have any mana, then 53 to 83% sacrifice mana cost is consumed. Otherwise, let's say you're at negative mana, sacrifice will still go off, but it'll do 80% less multiplicative damage, and minions cannot be stunned. Any sacrifice fans out there? Moving on to the new Fingers of the Phantomire. And this is one of those gloves that you could obviously use across all categories. When you use Evade, it is replaced by Terrify. More damage to feared enemies. You have Swiftness, and its attack speed, cast speed, slow, and you are immune to slow. Since it's Fear and Terrify, I put this in the Acolyte category. Moving on, you have Flames of Midnight, and this one I think is going to be a lot of fun. Evade is replaced by Spirit Step. When you directly use a fire, necrotic, or void skill, you create a wandering spirit near the target location. 4-second cooldown for each type, and you get ward for wandering spirit. Wandering spirit base damage is converted to fire. Flames of Midnight Wandering Spirit Ring. We have Grim Constitution. This is a new shield. And this is also one that could obviously be used multiple classes. You cannot gain ward while in combat. Up to 155% of your max health gained is ward decay threshold. Up to 55% max health gained is ward per second. Base life and block effectiveness. I honestly think you get this with legendary potential. It's going to give you tons of sustain for your necromancers. The new Scales Two-Handed Axe. This is minion necrotic penetration, minion damage, minion health. You can only control one shade. Chance to apply frailty on and slow to nearby enemies every second for Infernal Shade. Dread Shade has 30% increased buff effect. But what is really cool about this new axe, casting Infernal Shade grant your minions damage, immunity. So you can literally 30% of the time your minions are alive, they will not take damage. We are now moving on to Sentinel, and this is the Bane of Winter two-handed staff. It is probably the weirdest new unique we are getting. Chance to cast Void Winter Bolts when you hit an enemy with Javelin or a melee attack. Void Winter Bolts critical strike multiplier per uncapped chill. Void Winter Bolt damage per uncapped Time Rot chance. 100% of cold damage taken is physical, melee void, cold, or void melee, cold melee, and added melee damage applied as added spell damage to cold and void spells. Void Winter Bolts Javelin? Definitely a Sentinel item. Moving on to the Celestial Doom. Lots of void you will notice in Harbingers of Ruin. Mana spent gained is maximum mana for 5 seconds. You cast Doom Pulse when you directly cast a Fire, Cold, or Lightning, Necrotic, or Void spell. +1 spell damage per 10 max mana for Doom Pulse. You're going to notice a lot of stuff that is, they want you to have more max mana. Void spell, cast speed, ward decay threshold, and ward per second. This is a new Doom Pulse two-handed staff. There's a lot for Sentinel in this update. One of the most exciting items coming, this is Monument of Protection. And this is basically a main hand shield. This item allows you to dual wield shields, and it is counted as a one-handed axe. And the big thing about this new shield is it buffs your melee damage for shield bash and shield rush. So if you want to make a pure shield character, you can now dual wield shields with this and focus on shield bash and shield rush. That's going to be so much fun to test. Let's hope it is good. Moving on to Orin Sunseal. Now, when this item was shown, the art for it, I thought for sure it was going to be a Forge Guard ring. And I was terribly wrong. This is a new Sigils of Hope ring. It gives plus the sigils, you get plus the sigils duration, you get healing effectiveness, armor, and for every 10 seconds, if you are above half mana, you cast a sigil and consume 70 to 80% of its mana cost. Now, I don't know if you'd want to give up a ring spot for this, but if you find it with 1 or 2 LP and you could add modifiers to it, you are going to get a huge boost to sigils and you're going to automate the skill, so you never got to worry about clicking it again. Moving on to the Sacred Light. This is a new one-handed sword you could use at level 6, and it's melee damage per attunement, spell damage per strength, chance to cast smite on a melee hit, up to 3 per second, and chance to cast smite at 2 additional targets when you directly cast it. New smite leveling sword. Moving on to the Phantom Grip. This is, if anybody's a fan of Forge Guard and forged minions, this is going to be the third build I play come cycle 2. And this is level to minions, critical strike for minions, melee necrotic damage for forged weapons, forged weapon duration, and the most important, the stats on your gloves apply to your forged weapons at up to 100% effectiveness. What stats roll on glove? Attack speed, armor shred, attunement, like you can get leech so much you can now move over from your gloves to your forged weapons for Forge Guard. We continue with the inevitable. This is a Racing Strike boots you can use at level 83. Slow and chill immunity. You cannot be stunned while using a Racing Strike. Less damage taken while using a Racing Strike. And health gained on kill. New Racing Strike boots for Void Knight. World Splitter. This is a unique that you could definitely use on multiple classes, but I'll explain why I put it in Sentinel. Should be pretty simple. It gives melee void damage, and it has increased melee per mana cost, increased critical strike per mana cost, and mana regen. Oh, and melee critical strike multiplier. In my opinion, this item is designed for Erasing Strike. Moving on now to the Rogue, starting with an item that was showcased in actually the 11-minute trailer for Harbingers of Ruin. This is the Black Blade of Chaos, and this is going to completely change the Lethal Mirage skill. Lethal Mirage no longer grants invulnerability, but is a much quicker attack. Lethal Mirage's remaining cooldown recovered on melee hit, Dex, Lightning Penetration, Void Penetration, Melee, Lightning, Melee Void, Chance to Shock, Chance to Time Rot. Lethal Mirage is getting a brand new setup. Moving on to Phase Point. This is a level 87 quiver. Dodge rating, increased dodge rating, chance to gain Dust Shroud on dodge, chance to gain a black arrow on dodge, +1 bow void damage per Dust Shroud when using a black arrow, and up to +3 to Dark Quiver. That's also going to be very, very interesting to test in endgame. Moving on to Razor Fall. So this is entering this level 76 boots, increase movement, increase throwing attack, aerial assaults, burst of feathers, includes 2 umbral blades per 30 dexterity. You gain haste and increase throwing attack speed for 2 seconds after using aerial assault. Chance to recover 12% of aerial assault's remaining cooldown on throwing hit up to 3 times. Level 76, and combining aerial assault with umbral blades with dexterity, this will for sure turn into a build guide. For sure. Razor Fall. Moving on to stealth. These are level 79 boots, and they're focused around smoke bomb. +1 to evade charges. Enemy put a lower priority on targeting you compared to your minions and other allies. I'm not sure how this works. I'm guessing it adds threat level to your minions so they don't attack you. Dodge rating when using evade, increased dodge rating, and up to +4 to smoke bomb. I think the idea for this is that all rogues use shift. At least most of them use shift. So maybe you can save yourself a skill, go into evade with stealth boots. Lastly, Traitor's Tongue. Now this one, I put it as a rogue because it's a dagger. This is also one you can use on multiple classes, but I think it's going to obviously lean rogue. Parry chance with Traitor's Tongue equipped in the main hand. Critical strike chance with Traitor's Tongue equipped in the offhand. Up to +2 to level for dexterity skills, up to 2 for intelligence skills, and increased melee attack speed. Those are the rogue uniques. Now let's talk Primalist, and we're going to start with the world famous Crab Ring. Obviously you can use this on any class, but it is definitely going to lean Primalist. Evade is replaced by Summon Crab. You have swiftness, increased armor, increased minion armor, all attributes. You can use this at level 23. I think it will definitely be used as a leveling item. Now, once I saw that this item was in the game, the first thing I tested was I equipped 2 of them and added 1 evade charge, thinking that maybe if I have 3 stacks of evade and 2 rings, if I hit evade, I would have an army of 6 crabs, okay? If you're thinking like I'm thinking, I can tell you, unfortunately, that is not the case. You can only have, at time of recording, 1 crab at a time. I know, I don't like it either. Moving on to the new Tooth Sword. Now, I've been asked ad nauseum for a month, Aaron, what is going to be your first build? What is going to be your cycle 2 kickoff? And this item will be it. This is the new one-handed sword for Primalist. Melee damage for you and your minions, increased movement speed for you and your minions, +2 to melee skills, +2 to minion melee skills, reduced raptor size, less raptor damage. You can now summon raptors up to your companion limit. If you went all out and took certain skills and certain gear, you can now have a pack of 6 raptors instead of 1. I will be launching cycle 2 Raptor Pack Beastmaster. I can't wait. Moving on to Plague Dragon's Tongue. This will be one of my first 5 builds as well. This is a new 2-handed spear, and this is for locusts. So if you're Swarmblade, this is for Swarmblade, Druid. Chance to summon a locust on hit with Serpent Strike. Maximum locusts, increased attack, cast, and movement speed for locusts, increased attack speed for you, melee physical for your locusts, and up to +5 level to poison skills. My old Hive Queen Locust build for Swarmblade is likely going to have a brand new setup. Unfortunately, though, those are all the uniques for Primalist. Moving over to Mage, I've got 2 items to show you, starting with the Tribo Electro Wand. If you are a fan of lightning, you are going to love this item. Up to +3 level to your lightning spells, up to 5 tendrils on your static orb, increased shock duration. When you use evade, you cast static orb for 90% of its mana cost. When you use evade, you transfer all your stacks of shock on nearby enemies, and you can have up to 35% increased cooldown recovery on evade. So if you really stack into evade, the new movement mechanic, and let's say you have 3-4 charges of evade and you work on its cooldown recovery, you can literally just roll across the map with this new wand, casting static orb. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with. And the second item I have to show you is this new Penance one-handed sword. Now, right off the bat, I just want to throw it out there. This is designed for Primalist and Mage, but I think it's going to lean Mage. But it's technically, this would work for Primalist as well. This is cold damage leached as health. Mana Strike's base damage is converted to cold. Fury Leap's base damage is converted to cold. Chance to apply chill on a melee hit. Freeze rate per stack of chill and cold penetration. So this is really for your Primalist and your Spellblade. Now we are moving over to the general category, and I have 5 uniques to show you. These will work on any class, any mastery for the most part. They are not designed for a singular build. The first thing we're going to look at is the Vent Horizon two-handed mace. This will likely be one of the strongest items in the game. This is penetration against all resistance with melee. When you use a melee attack and hit at least one enemy, you gain a stack of dilation. 15% more damage per stack of dilation up to 10, which means that it can go up to 150% melee damage. Less attack and cast speed per stack of dilation, less movement speed per stack of dilation. All stacks of dilation are lost when you use a Mage. Movement speed and more damage to slowed. It is an absolute monster for melee. Moving on to the Nihilus Amulet. Now, the Nihilus Amulet is one of the first items ever in Last Epoch that has huge roll ranges, all the way from negative to positive. And this is going to give you up to +2 to skills, up to plus 50 mana regen, or negative 20, up to 20% armor, or negative 10, up to 15% all resistance, or negative 5. Current health and ward lost when you use evade, and frenzy after you use evade. And the implicits are great as well. Increased health, mana, and movement speed anywhere from 1 to 12 or negative 4 to 8. Now, quickly on the Nihilus Amulet. As you might know, if you follow this channel, every single cycle and update, I run a treasure hunt event. And instead of first one to 100, first one to kill the pinnacle boss, first one to hit 500 corruption, we do an RNG-based treasure hunt. And for the 7th Action RPG treasure hunt event, we are going to be searching for the Nihilus Amulet. And it could not be simpler. The first person, there'll be 2 winners, one on Legacy, one on Cycle. The first person to find a Nihilus Amulet that has +2 to all skills, and you turn it into a legendary with a T7 health, base life, you will win the treasure hunt race and get a custom Action RPG merch item. We already have, I literally launched it yesterday. The sign up will run for a whole week. We already have over 50 people in the 7th treasure hunt race for the Nihilus Amulet. First link in the description is the Discord if you want to get in. And honestly, my Discord during a Last Epoch launch, Cycle 2, Cycle 1, it explodes. We have 10 to 20 different voice parties going. It's an absolute blast. Giveaways, special guests. Get into the Discord. We're approaching 4,000 members. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Moving on to the Null. This is the Null Body Armor. And this is melee damage leached his health, overkill damage leached his health, increased leech rate, increased health, physical resistance, 1% less damage taken per 2 resistance above your normal resistance cap, up to 20% less damage taken. This is basically an improved Woven Flesh. It reads just like Woven Flesh. This is level 81. If you are a melee build, it'll be great. Up to 20% DR. Unbelievable. Moving on to the new Seed Helmet. And this is mana, increased mana regen, damage dealt to mana before health, endurance applies to all damage dealt to mana, maximum health gained is endurance threshold, health, up to an 8% chance to take 0 damage when hit. The new Seed Helmet. All of these items are like unbelievably powerful. And the last one, the Wall of Nothing. Chance to take 0 damage when hit, up to 16%. Ward decay threshold, endurance threshold added as ward decay threshold, and ward per second. So those are the general uniques, and I've got one more for you. Last but not least, this totally counts. It is a new unique idol titled the Harbinger's Needle. And everybody is going to want as many Harbinger needles as humanly possible. This is the first consumable unique that EHG has ever put into Last Epoch. Breaks if equipped. So basically you take your Harbinger's Needle, you apply it in your idol slots, and breaks if equipped when you kill a timeline boss above 90 corruption, causing that timeline boss to kill. Boss kill grants 3 additional Gaze of Oribus. Or 3 Gaze of Oribus now is 36 added corruption. So if you're trying to push corruption, if you're trying to level an alt or get it up there, 3 Gaze of Orbis, 36 corruption for each damn needle. All right, everybody, that is all 30 new uniques coming to Harbingers of Ruin in a little over 2 days. And I want to know your opinion. What build do you plan on starting with, and what unique are you most excited about? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, check out my Discord, approaching 4,000 members. We do a giveaway every 2 weeks. The last one was for an Action RPG hat. The next one coming up is for a free copy of Last Epoch, just as a thank you for hanging out and being a member of the community. So get into the Discord and join the new treasure hunt race for the Nihilus Amulet. Best way to support is always Patreon. We do movie night, game night, exclusive content, VIP lounge, the ability to live stream audio and video. The best way to support is Patreon. And like, share, and subscribe if you think I've earned it. 2 days and 20 hours away. I'm so excited. I am so excited. If you need anything, hit me up on Discord. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.